Hi, so I'm going to do my predictions for the NHL season in the Atlantic Division. So in first, I have the Tampa Bay Lightnings. They didn't really do anything by signing like free agents or anything like that, but they did an amazing job re-signing the players that they had to re-sign at pretty good contracts, pretty good contracts for the team, so they'd be able to sign everybody. Especially that Stamkos deal at $8.5 million. He definitely could have got a lot more, but took a hometown discount, as it's called, to stay in Tampa. So even though they didn't do anything really, they should be able to come first in this division because they have one of the deepest teams in this division and pretty solid goaltending with a pretty good defense with Strawman and Hedman being the top two in that pair on that defense line, so they're pretty good. Second, I have Florida Panthers. So their biggest move was trading and signing Keith Yandel. So this gives them a pretty good puck-moving defenseman and should slate on that first line with Aaron Ekblad, which could be a dynamic duo for them. They also signed Jason Demers. So this is a really good defense core now with Keith Yandel, Aaron Ekblad, Jason Demers, and Alex Petrovich. And obviously Luongo is having surgery, so he won't start this season with the team, so that's why they went out and signed James Reimer. He can easily get the job done. He's shown that in Toronto, and obviously Florida's got way better defense than Toronto, so he should be able to get off to a good start and ease Roberto Luongo back into the lineup. Next, I have Montreal Canadiens, mainly because obviously Carey Price should be back from his injury, and hopefully he doesn't get injured throughout the season for that team, and if he stays healthy, they should be able to get to the third spot. They also added Alex Radulov and Andrew Shaw to add some scoring. Radulov's put up some pretty good numbers in the KHL the last few years, and Andrew Shaw's put up some decent numbers in Chicago. But obviously their biggest move was trading PK Subban for Shea Weber. So I think the first couple years of this trade it's going to look pretty even, but obviously as Weber gets older and he's going to start to slow down because he's played in a pretty hard division when he was in the West. So as of right now, he should help the Montreal Canadiens on defense, and because they're going to get the goaltending from Price back, they should be able to come third. Next is kind of a toss-up between Boston Bruins and the Ottawa Senators. I picked Boston Bruins to become fourth ahead of Ottawa, mainly because Rask was a better goalie than Anderson, I feel. And I know Boston's defense isn't that good. Like, they're still kind of good because Trow's right at the end of his career pretty much. But they've got a decent defense, and they got a pretty deep center line. If they keep Backus at center, he'll be the third line center, which he would slate in pretty good for. He could be a second line player if they move him to the wings, so we'll see what they do for him. That's a lot of money for a third line center though, so I see him moving up maybe to the second line wing if he plays the wing. So because of this, how deep they are at center, and they should just edge out Ottawa, but barely. They might be in contention for the wild card, but I'm not too sure about that. So then I have Ottawa at fifth. So they got a little bit better with the Brassard trade. For this year, Zibanejad is projected to be maybe better than Brassard in a couple of years. So as of this year, they might have got a little bit better. And they got a pretty decent defense with Erik Karlsson, Mark Mathot, Dion Phaneuf, and Cody Ceci. The big wild card, even though Anderson has played good enough at least for that team in the last couple of years. We'll see if he can be consistent this year, and if Andrew Hammond can maybe get back to closer to where he was 2 years ago when he made that amazing run. Obviously, he probably isn't that good, so if maybe just a couple notches below that, then they would make the playoffs, but I don't see them making the playoffs this year. So next I have the Buffalo Sabres. So this all depends on what happens with Evander Kane and with that legal situation, and if this becomes a distraction for the Buffalo Sabres. But with a first line with Jack Eichel, Sam Reinhart, and Kyle Opozo, this they should do better than the 81 points that they got last year. They got an alright defense, but the big wild card is when it comes to Robin Leonard, whether he can play for starter minutes and whether he can be consistent when getting these minutes. He still hasn't shown that he can because he got injured last year when he would have got the starter minutes, but he just didn't play that much because he got injured. So, second last, I got Detroit Red Wings. Losing Pavel Datsyuk's leadership was a big blow to them, and I don't think Frans Nielsen can bring that much leadership to them. So, because of this, I think that their playoff streak is going to end. Although we've been calling for that for the last couple of years, and they've just squeaked in every year. But this year, I think, is the year that it does end, because they don't have a great offensive players. They have some pretty good ones like Zetterberg and Larkin. Larkin showed he can play in the NHL last year. But that defense, although it's still kind of good, but the money they dished out to DeKaiser might handcuff them in years to come. That's a big contract for him. And Peter Mrazek and Jimmy Howard, they can play average goaltenders, so they'll be in the top 15 in goals against probably, but I don't see them being good enough for them to jump up in the playoff spot. And then last, I got the Toronto Maple Leafs. Although they are going to be a lot better than they were last year, but it's really hard to make a huge jump in the standings. They're most likely to come like fifth last, from 5th to 7th last, I think. Last in this division, because a lot of the teams in their division got a lot better. And the best ones stayed pretty much even. But they can easily beat Columbus and Carolina and some teams like that. So they are going to move up, but it's really hard when teams in your division got a lot better. So obviously their goaltending should be a little bit better with Anderson. Let's hope he can turn into that number one we're hoping for. And their offense should be a lot better with Matthews and hopefully Marner and Nylander. Well, obviously Nylander's going to make it, but hopefully Marner makes it. So they should have a better offense and have JVR healthy for the year. Their whole thing is going to be on defense. They have an average defense core. Riley, if he makes the big strides under Babcock, he could be the really good shutdown defenseman with like 25 to 30 minutes a game. But it all depends on whether Zaitsev can come over and learn the North American game, and whether or not Connor Carrick takes a big step, because he had a really good AHL playoff, so hopefully he'll turn that into some experience and get a lot better. So let me know what you think, whether you like this video, dislike it, comment, and subscribe, and have a nice day.